All right, everybody, and welcome back to my final video covering Path of Exile to Sekhemas. This is being recorded in zero point 0.2, so I'm not sure if this will be this will translate to future leagues, but maybe some of the decision-making insights and information about Sekhemas will still be useful in future leagues as well if you want to speedrun. So what we will be covering today is how to speedrun Sekhemas. To my knowledge, I was the fastest clear in zero point 0.1, clearing in under 6 minutes. And this league, so far as of recording this video, we have a record of 8 minutes 11 seconds, which should far outpace any other clear so far. It's always possible. I do believe that this league, the limit is around maybe 7 minutes, 7:30, if you have like multi-mirror builds. And when I say multi-mirror, I mean 10 plus mirror builds. But so far, 8:11 is the record. Now, things to start with. First, you're going to see that, unlike the previous videos, there is a timer in the bottom left. This is called Livesplit. This is a great program that speedrunners use. You can configure it in different ways for Path of Exile. As far as I know, so far there's no such thing as an auto splitter, which is where the program will detect once you've hit certain checkpoints and then automatically track your times between each checkpoint. So far, I do not believe anything like that exists for Path of Exile, so it would be something that you manually press a button. So for me, I bound my timer start to Y, so whenever I start a speedrun, I press, let's say, my first input plus Y at the same time. So this is a program called Livesplit. This is a free-to-use program and then as they even give you some examples, mine is very simplistic. I start the time, I end the time, and I do mentally keep track of roughly what times are good for me. You could also set it up like they do here. For example, in Sekhemas, you can set it up for floor 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get a better idea of which floors you did well on, which floors you did poorly on compared to your bests. Anyway, I'll let you discover more about Livesplit. This is not a guide about Livesplit. It's just saying that this is a great program to use if you do want to be speedrunning, and I would highly recommend it in general if you want to do any kind of speedrunning, not just Sekhemas. Second, OBS. OBS is a great recording platform. There's Streamlabs OBS, and then there is OBS. That's going to be very much personal preference. I do like Streamlabs OBS for streaming because it does track my overlays and my personal settings and things like that. Then you have OBS, which is much more bare bones, but has a lot more functionality for plugins, customization. The only thing is, and then generally for recording, you don't need to have overlays and things like that. So I use OBS and I save all my recording settings there, while I have Streamlabs OBS for my streaming. Further, Steam does have a recording now, game recording. So you can set it up so that it'll record automatically. You can set it up to record manually. The only thing is, I do not believe that you can have your Livesplit included in this game recording. Now, you could still record the run and have that run as a to show that run. So I don't think anyone would really mind if the timer was not shown fully. But so this is one example as well if you are playing through Steam, which I am. I'm not sure what console options there are, and I've heard that it's not great on controller to speedrun anyway, so I do not know what those options would be. So that covers some of the programs that you might consider. Obviously, try and set it up so that you stutter the least. Go to a random global channel, random trade channel, restart the game, and add D&D mode if you don't want to be disturbed. Next, loot filters. If you really want to go try hard, you could do something like a speedrun filter where you're only going to get dinged and have alerts for, let's say, a mirror. Set this up for yourself and see how you feel. Otherwise, if you're just doing it casually and you still want to see, your normal loot filter, there's no problem there. But it is something to consider if you do want to push for new records and things like that. Next, Why would you speedrun Sekhemas? Unlike with my previous videos where, we're talking about speedrunning Sekhemas so that you can, or sorry, farming Sekhemas so that you can pick up some expensive jewels, expensive relics, things like that. This is purely for clout. Just to say that you can. There is no other reason that we speedrun Sekhemas besides just to say that you did it. I clear Sekhemas under 9 minutes. And then you're going to get a bunch of people in global saying that's impossible. But you did it. So that's why you speedrun Sekhemas. It's to challenge yourself. It is a natural extension of when you're farming it. I do enjoy Sekhemas because it is one of the only pieces of content that you actively fully influence how fast you clear Sekhemas. Obviously, there's RNG between rooms and boons and afflictions, but overall, it is your choices, your pathing, and all of that determine how quickly you clear Sekhemas, as well as your builds. To determine how quickly you clear Sekhemas. And that goes for farming and speedrunning as well. So speedrunning was just a natural extension in that, I'm already experiencing the Sekhemas trials. I'm just progressing. I'm improving. I want to see how fast I can just go. And that's where you get to speedrunning Sekhemas. This guide will not cover every single room type in every single floor. Hopefully I will not be actively speedrunning, but I will just be aiming to show and talk about the decision making that I would be going through each of the rooms, but obviously slower so that people can follow. So all of these, say goodbye to most of these because you are not going to be running Vase Relics or anything like that. You might pick up a few chests at the end after Zarok, but otherwise you're probably not going to be picking up too many keys or relics along the way. So say goodbye to all of this loot if you do decide to speedrun. Say goodbye to all of it, all of it, all of it. Now, Boons and Afflictions. If you are speedrunning, say goodbye to boons as well. You need to be ready to just not have any boons whatsoever. Depending on your build, so I'm running Whirling Slash this league. Last league, it was Auto Bomber plus Tempest Flurry that I ran. We do not actually rely on any movement speed. And last league, again, the fastest builds did not rely on movement speed. So stuff like Hare's Foot is not relevant to us, so we don't even have to check merchants. If it is relevant to you, then at the most, what you would be looking for is to just pick up Sacred Water and pass by and check the merchants quickly looking for Hare's Foot on the way through. Otherwise, give it up. You're not going to be speedrunning to pick up, trying to max out all your boons. You are checking for Hare's Foot, and that is it. And if you run out of Sacred Water, then you pick up the next fountain you can that you happen to pass by, and then you, again, start checking for Hare's Foot again. Relying on that kind of build, I mean, maybe in future leagues it will be that, movement speed will just be far faster than any kind of movement attack that we can do, in which case you will have to start checking for Hare's Foot, and it might be a game of RNG of who gets Hare's Foot the fastest in their speedrun. So there you have it. You are going to have to be comfortable running Sekhemas without boons whatsoever. In none of my speedruns this league did I pick up any boons. And your goal is to really hit a point where you are not restoring honor, you are not picking up boons, and then you can clear with any affliction sets you get. Obviously, some afflictions are generally run enders. So you have afflictions such as Purple Smoke, which you do not see the afflictions, which can be bad. You really, basically, the two break afflictions are, you cannot see room types, you are not always taken to the correct room, which is Deceptive Mirror, and it is another one of the smoke ones, Red Smoke. So unlike with farming, where you should generally be comfortable with any room type, Red Smoke is now your worst enemy, because rooms are not created equal in Sekhemas. Some rooms are just insanely long, and other rooms are very short. And so your choice of rooms will matter a lot when you are speedrunning. So Deceptive Mirror and Red Smoke are your big bricks because you just can no longer really influence what rooms you get. You get what you get, whether it's good or bad, and that just sucks. Purple Smoke, obviously, you don't see the affliction, so that it very much increases your chance to land into one of those. Myriad Aspersions, same thing. When you gain an affliction, sorry, it's not on this tier list. It was on the other link that I had. When you gain an affliction, you gain a second affliction. So a random affliction too, which means that, again, you are very much increasing your chance to land into one of these two. And then your other two are generally going to be... I think it's Dark Pit, which is trap damage increase. That is very bad. Traps hit very hard. You're going to be running through traps at breakneck speeds, so it can make the run very difficult. And Forgotten Traditions, regardless of what relic setup you're running, so let's say you're running movement speed, or you're running trap damage reduction, or whatever it is that you decide that you want to run, increased defenses if you're running Queen of the Forest. So, I personally run trap damage reduction because all my movement speed comes from Whirling Slash anyway. I'm not reliant on increased defenses for my speed, like with Queen of the Forest, or just the movement speed from the potential relics, like with other builds. Let's say if I was playing a Deadeye. So before we start, End Trials is gonna be you're gonna be close friends with the End Trials button. So you saw Hourglass. Hourglass is immediately going to be a 30 to 45 second time loss. As soon as you see Hourglass, it's pretty much going to be a dead run. At least at the point that I'm at, Hourglass is going to be a dead run. You can also see my boons here. So I have increased defenses. Not that that really is relevant here. But it does boost a little bit of energy shield, which ends up being honor. I could also just do maximum honor as well, or maximum life. We have quantity of relics. I still want to, look for last flames because I've done around 600 runs last league, and we're at about 160 runs this league or so. Still no last flame. Trap damage reduction. This is my choice of speedrunning relic. Trap damage reduction and honor resistance, just for those times that you do take a little bit of damage here and there. As you can see, once I enter, I will not have capped res. Again, you are moving fast, you are killing before stuff hits you or touches you, is the ideal, because you can get stun locked extremely quickly. So, I can see that this is an escape trial. Your starting is always going to be either Hourglass, Escape, or Gauntlet. You cannot get a Chalice or a Ritual as the first room of floor 1. So, and then obviously Hourglass is a brick, so you will only really start with Escape or Gauntlet. So, this is going to be a start for us. So again, check your relic effects. Double check that you have everything you want. Like for me, 100% trap damage immunity or reduction, which means immunity. And then have your blink ready. So I run a level 21 blink, and then when I set swap, it's 27 for 5.2 meters. And this helps with some of the skips, especially on floor 1. There is one skip on room 5 for Gauntlet that's pretty nice. And then floor 2 has some corner skips, and having a higher level blink is quite nice for that one as well. Otherwise, optionally, you have Ball Lightning, Lightning Warp. This will save you time on some floor 4 gauntlets. It is definitely not absolutely necessary. You do save maybe around 15 seconds for a perfect bridge warp. The only downside is, the downside to not running it also is that you can end up getting the same gauntlet multiple times on floor 4. So if 15 seconds, let's say when we're talking about floor 1, the room that we're skipping with a high level blink, which takes a level 24 or higher blink, by the way, which is why I have the set swap with the wand and the focus. This, at most, you will only see once in a run. That one blink skip. When it comes to floor 4 gauntlet, you can get the same gauntlet multiple times, in which case you can do the Ball Lightning, Lightning Warp skip multiple times. You do need to have acceleration on Ball Lightning. One thing that you can also do is that let's say you have a better ring that you want to use. You'll see that Lightning Warp is not usable because I took off the unset ring. It disabled this slot. So what I would tend to do if I wanted to take out my other ring is I could leave in, I could have an unset as a swap. So let's say I wanted to mirror my emerald ring, my high damage, high speed emerald ring. As you can see with Whirling Slash, 13 down to 13, it was 13.51 down to 13.61, 13.16, sorry. But now I have Lightning Warp available, so you could always swap in your unset ring later in the run, starting on floor 4, just to have it open up for you. So that's one option there. Again, depending on how serious you want to get about speedrunning, this may or may not be relevant to you. Okay, so I believe we've set up everything. So you set up your relics, you check. Did you get a good room or not? If you didn't, reset, and then put a new barrier in. Go to the waypoint and come back out, and it will pop the altar back out. If you don't do that, the altar will just sit there inside, and you'll have to. I don't believe it automatically pops out, or at least it takes quite a bit of time before it automatically pops out before you can see the room type. So this is a quick way to check, to go back to the waypoint, come back here, and check what you got as your room. So, we're getting to the point we're ready to start. Room types unknown. Brick. So, on floor 1, you generally have 2 good chalices. Sorry, you only have 2 good gauntlets, and that is room 3 and room 5. Because gauntlets on floors 1, 2, and 3 are determined based on what room number they are. So a gauntlet on floor 1 is always the same, room 2 always the same, 3, 4, etc. And that goes for all 3 floors, the first 3 floors. Floor 4 is the only time where gauntlets are just randomized, you get what you get, and you can repeat the same one. So, here we have room types unknown. Obviously, we're not taking that. This, we're not going to take. We're going to take we're going to take the one at the top. So, just before you start your run, just quickly check your map. And you could think about it a little bit. And we know that we're going to take the top one. On floor 1, rituals tend to be always the fastest room type. There are 3 different rituals. The lucky ritual, where there's only one big altar spawn. Good ritual, which is 3 altars, usually very close together. And bad rituals. Across every single floor, the bad rituals are 5 altars, and they are very spread apart. On floor 1, bad rituals are pretty rough. They are long, and you are much better off taking a chalice. You don't know what ritual you're going to get. If you're going for absolute speed, obviously you're going to have to pick a ritual over a chalice every time and hope that you get a lucky ritual, or at least a good ritual. Meanwhile, casually, stuff like a chalice, especially floor 1, where there's only 2 rares per chalice, could be quite nice to save time. So, here we go. 3, 2, 1... And then obviously you're just trying to move through as fast as possible. Stuff like boulder ants are going to be quite annoying. And we know that we already committed to the top chalice. This is one of those skips that you could do. We hit it first try. Again, with how fast we're moving, I don't even know if that's really worth the effort. Lose all sacred water on floor completion. This is a great example of why trying to push for Hairfoot is not great. And you can corner skip this if it would work. I'm not sure why it's not working. There we go. Just have to kill that enemy, I guess. We got the ritual, and this is one of the good ones. This is 3 altars. This is the room 5 gauntlet that I'm talking about. I'm very happy that I get to show it. So again, it's this skip. The one you just saw in the chalice. I have a level 18 blink right now. Doesn't let me blink through. Switch, and it blinks through. 24 is, to my knowledge, the minimum required, so I was able to do it with a 24. I was never able to do it with a lower one, and I'm using a level 21 blink. Another good ritual. And you see that we had the hourglass on the bottom. Escapes are pretty long. Escapes on floors 2 and 3 are much better. On floor 1, they are pretty long, but still way faster than an hourglass. Generally, as soon as you get an hourglass room, you're talking about a 30-45 second time loss. There are some escape rooms on floor 4 that are also equally bad. And then again, like we're saying, you're not picking up loot. So, in terms of currency and profit generation, speedrunning is not profitable. We have gauntlets. There's a lot of room skips, of corner skips and gauntlets. You can also take the chalice. If you're running headhunter, then chalice will also afford you to pick up some rares. So in a case like this, either one I would consider is right. This is a very annoying affliction. Take damage after every room because it will stack. We're pretty early in the run. This is something that will stack up considerably throughout the entire run. So it is a very fair choice to take the chalice as well. It would be a bit longer than the gauntlet, but you avoid this affliction, and this is an hourglass. So this is obviously, this is an avoid, and then, so these two top rooms are avoid and dead. One thing is, rituals, hourglasses will never repeat one after the next. You cannot, so now that I see that there's an hourglass here, hourglass ritual here, nothing in this entire column can be an hourglass or a ritual. You can repeat gauntlets, you can repeat, I believe, chalice, and you can repeat escapes. You cannot repeat hourglass and ritual. These will never repeat. So that means we are, even this has 3 options, and no matter what we take, we know that it cannot be a ritual. So one thing that you will have to start doing as well for decision making is, actually, sorry, I'm gonna reset this and take the gauntlet so I can show the corner skip. One thing that you're going to have to start doing actively is, you know that, so I'm going to take the gauntlet just to show, but now that I know that I will be taking the ritual right away, so I don't even have to look. Next, when I check these 2 rooms, all I have to check for is if it's a chalice, escape, or gauntlet. Chalice is always ideal, so if the first one I check is a chalice, then I can take it. It is also worth checking the rooms after it, just to quickly check to make sure you're not forcing yourself into an hourglass or something. And there's the corner skip with the gauntlet. Another good ritual. There's I think 3 rooms that we can do that corner skip in. So you see we have the hourglass, so we checked. We could still take the chalice into ritual. We could go gauntlet into ritual. Let's go ahead and take the chalice this time. Again, you have to do this in split seconds because you have 32 rooms to do and 29 choices, I believe. I believe it's 29 choices throughout the entire run. So again, we know that the hourglass is on top, so that the next room after this is not going to be an hourglass or ritual for that matter. So we know it's pretty safe to take that one option. So, lucky ritual. We clicked and checked. We saw it was either an hourglass or ritual, so we took the ritual. Obviously, hourglass is going to be a brick and a half. And we're at floor 2 boss. Halfway done. So you can see the benefit of not having to worry about builds that care about boons. I don't have to check anything. I'm going to switch to my tempo because blinks are way more important on starting on floor 3 and on floor 4. So we have all escapes. That means we want to quickly check what we want to take here. This chalice has 3 options after, so this looks amazing. Gauntlets on floor 3 are amazing, actually, as well. They're very quick in general. Some are better than others. Room 7 ones are great, and room 5 ones are absolutely amazing, and room 1. So room 1, 5, and 7 actually, on all 3 floors, room 5 gauntlet is by far the fastest room that you can take. So as long as it's not a brick affliction or forces you into a brick node, room 5 gauntlets are the best. So that's where on floor 1 you have the corner skip. On floor 2 you also have a corner skip room 5 gauntlet, and on floor 3 you have a high-low skip, and it is incredibly fast. So we're gonna go ahead and take the escape trial in the middle. Obviously, you're going to have to start learning your pathing. Ritual. We know that we already checked. We know that at worst there is a ritual. This is since I'm only doing a showcase run. I'll pick up the gold key for myself. And remember that this was an hourglass, so I know that no matter what, my 2 choices after cannot be an hourglass. That way, it's a very safe way to know that you don't always get this lucky, by the way. But it's a very safe way to know that neither of these options is going to be an hourglass. So both are gauntlet. Now, this is where it sucks. They both got forced into this, and that's an hourglass, and that's GG. So this would never be a top-tier speedrun. And here you can see how fast floor 3 gauntlets are, even without any skips. This is just intended pathing. Just intended pathing, super quick. So this would be, for me, this would be a reset, or I might just finish the run anyway. But since we're pretty deep in, but generally, generally as soon as you see an hourglass, 30, 40-second time loss, and it's rough. Just to pull the lever is 8 seconds. That's why they're so bad. So we have gauntlets. Gauntlets, like I said, gauntlets in general are very quick on floor 3. Again, this is just intended path. No skips, no corner skips or anything. This is just fully intended. That's it. Now we have double ritual. This is the bad ritual, so this is where you have 5 different altars to do. Of the two bad ritual layouts on floor 3, this is the better one. The other one is quite a bit longer, I would say. If you have to swap gear or anything, time to do it now. Right after pressing that door, because it is a fixed timer for once you can click that portal. Sometimes it'll spawn early like it did there, but you still can't click it, and other times it just takes forever. Escapes on floor 4 have the potential to be run ending. Some escapes on floor 4, even with right now, this is pretty much one of the fastest builds that you can play right now. These are awful. They are near, they just take forever. We're talking 30 seconds for a single escape room. So we're always going to be prioritizing chalice, rituals, and if it's a question between a gauntlet or escape, then you would generally take the gauntlet. So here we have 2 escapes and a gauntlet. This is our forced choice, regardless of what these are. Unless it's like 3 hourglasses and then, you know, you have a ritual. So we see there's an hourglass here. So if it was like, let's say 3 hourglasses and this was a ritual, you would probably still want to take the escape. But in general, if I were to run into the situation, escapes can be so bad that I would take the chalice no matter what. I wouldn't even check what the rooms after were. So. Sometimes this guy just decides not to spawn, and it will just count as trial completed after 2 kills. So that's sometimes nice. And we see we have ritual into chalice. This is one of the bad ones. Oops. Sometimes whirling slash gets really buggy when you start stacking up and going faster. You got frozen by something? Okay. I didn't talk about the charms. Obviously, Rite of Passage is pretty freaking good for this because of the skill speed increase. Good ritual. Stuff like Stag, Wolf, and Stag, Wolf, and Cat are the good ones. Oh, that was not the rare. Not bad. And then now we're forced into an hourglass again. Like I said, sometimes you can take all the right choices. Chalice, ritual, chalice, etc. When we had 2 options here, and we still ended up into a forced hourglass. So, again, you can do everything right, and you will end up into a forced hourglass. That's the name of the game when you're speedrunning. Goes the same in a lot of other games where there's RNG. You can go ask Angormus. There's when we were talking about campaign RNG. Sometimes it's with you, sometimes it's not. Obviously, when we're doing a speedrun such as this, where we have as many attempts as we want, effectively, only constrained by the amount of time that you're willing to put into it, as well as the length of the league, well, then you can give it as many tries as you want. And you would just reset. Like I said, realistically, it would have been a reset on the first time I got the hourglass. Sometimes it doesn't actually press the... Sometimes it doesn't actually press the war banner if I swap in the middle. So there you have it. There's an example of full run. Again, we weren't trying to go super fast. I should have swapped this, but anyway. Sometimes war banner just doesn't like to activate for us, but there you have it. There was a full run with commentary, decision making, stuff like that. Floor 4 is an absolute shit show. You cannot... Doesn't matter what room you take anything on, there's no guarantee of anything. Floor 1, I mean, you're always going to be prioritizing rituals when you can get them. Chalices are second best, usually. Except when you have the good gauntlets. Escape rooms are just not hourglasses, effectively, yet. And that's it. That's how you speedrun Sekhemas. There's a lot of little corner clips or wall jumps or stuff like that that you can try and figure out and find. Whatever was available here, I tried to showcase through this run, but again, there's way too many rooms that I could be covering and layouts and things like that. So, hope you enjoyed. Hope you found it interesting, and hope to see you on the next video or on Twitch stream where I do these runs live, pushing for new world records. So ciao, have a good one, and I will see you next time.